Welcome to the show, everybody.
What's going on?
Nice to have you here. Welcome back to what may very well be the final episode
Don't jinx it.
of the lockdown series from Tucker and the Beard. We might be back in the studio next week.
Oh, you're just volunteering that one. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, I'm in the studio today, but for the same reason I was in the studio last week. It's a little easier for me to get a little bit of work done.
Gotcha.
Had a brief meeting with a friend of ours this morning who just happened to be rolling through near my house and wanted to talk to me about a super secret video project that he's going to be working on. So
it's so secret, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's true, because I just found out about it less than an hour ago.
Oh, okay then.
You'll
have to either fill me in or not fill me in. I don't know.
No, I will. We'll probably end up cross promoting it on the show at some point. It's something our good friend and worst human being on planet Earth, Dalen, So.
Okay then.
It involves 360 degree footage, and that's about all I can say about it right now.
Well, that's going to turn me around.
Right round, baby. Right round. Like a record.
Yes. So, yeah, we did something cool last night.
It was. In fact, it's something that I would like to just jump out. We don't have a date and time set up yet, but I think it would be super fun to invite our friends and listeners to join in with us from time to time. We'll do watch parties.
Yeah, I think that'd be super cool.
But we checked out the Netflix Party extension for the Chrome internet browser.
Yeah, when I talked to my son about it, who had done it, it sounded, I guess when anybody tries to tell you how to do something that involves, it sounds a lot more complicated than it actually ended up being.
Yeah.
But it's an extra step. It's not just you going into the Netflix app and like clicking a button. There was a couple extra steps.
But yeah, so we played around with this new thing called Netflix Party yesterday, and we watched the new Chris Hemsworth film Extraction. And it was cool because, as you know, when we get together and go to a movie, it can be not the greatest experience for people sitting around us. Because if it were up to us, we would have private showings at theaters, or we could full-on Mystery Science Theater 3000 these things.
Yeah, and we did get to do that, which made this movie better.
It wasn't bad.
Right, it wasn't bad to begin with, but there was parts where I was literally laughing out loud at parts that weren't intended to be funny because we were cracking ourselves up.
Yeah, because I mean, none of the movie was intended to be funny. It was a relatively serious movie, kind of in that same. It was a pure action film.
Yes,
really, truly, it was an action film in its highest form.
Yes, very cinematic. There was some really cool one-shot scenes. There was a big car chase scene and some fight scenes that were all done either in one shot or made to look like it was all in one shot, that were done really, really well, that I was impressed with. There's a lot of things that I could have easily taken out of the movie, and I think you and I both can agree on that.
We won't give any spoilers because I think it just came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah, but I guess at least give the disclaimer that if you're squeamish to, I don't want to say kids because it's not violence to kids, but
no. Well, yes and no. There was a couple of those moments where I was like, oof. But you know, the whole film is centered around a drug dealer who uses kids as his kind of army, as his enforcers in a lot of ways. And so
not all, because Star Wars stormtrooper thing that you can't think too much of, just like look at all in it and just part of the cause.
Right.
Just, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of it made it a lot funnier, but I think you and I can both agree it was like they took about five or six different movies and put them into a blender.
Yeah. You know what the bummer about the Netflix Party plugin is it doesn't give you an option to like save your chat thread, which I think would have been cool to just be able to export that chat thread and do something with it. I think that would have been pretty rad. But alas, it was an interesting way to do two things that you're not supposed to do while you're watching a movie. Right? The two cardinal sins while watching a movie is don't talk during the movie and don't text during the movie. Right?
Right.
Like those are the rules when you go to the theater. And this gave you the opportunity to do both at the same time. So you're talking without making any noise, but you're also texting in a manner of speaking while the movie is going. And again, we tend to do that anyway, just through our, we'll lean over and whisper to one another, and make jokes about the movies. I mean, listen, I think that we could turn almost any movie into a comedy if you just add I think it'd be great to be able to do, on DVDs, they have the director's commentary track that'll play behind the main audio.
Add Tucker and the Beard commentary.
Yeah. Again, kind of in that same vein as like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where we're just we're taking shots at the movie, at the options that they chose and that kind of stuff. At one point, it was like, oh, that CGI was not
other than that one small
it was in 1
second.
And it was like they used their whole CG because there wasn't a ton of other CGI in the movie that I could tell. Everything else was practical effects and camera work.
Right. It was like leading up to it.
Tried to.
Yeah, leading up to it, it was just this awesome one-shot car chase kind of stuff, and then you go, and it's a small little CGI moment that you and I both went, okay.
Yeah, 7 seconds of the movie that could have done without.
Yeah. But I mean, for what it is a Netflix streaming movie, I thought it was awesome. Although it was just, I kept on going, and not in a bad way, but I kept on feeling like, hey, I've seen this movie.
Right.
But that movie kept changing. Like there was one part where I sprinkled in some Incredibles, where I was like, that was like a scene straight out of The Incredibles. It's just like,
yeah. And then I was trying to remember the movie, but it was like a little bit of John Wick, a little bit of The Expendables, a little bit of, well, not
Mission
so much
Impossible.
not so much The Expendables, because The Expendables was literally it was intended to be a satire of the entire genre.
Right.
And this certainly wasn't intended to be a satire at all. So, but it was all these different storylines that they kind of wove together a little bit to try and make one unified storyline. And they did it well. It wasn't a bad movie. Very well.
Well, and it was like, Olympus Has Fallen, where it's like he's got to go rescue the kid, or whatever, and it's like this aspect to it.
But also a little bit of Terminator in that same respect. I mean, I think at one time he even actually said the word "come with me if you want to live."
Listen, if you wanted to play a drinking game with this movie, it would be move, kid, go, or something. Like, if you really think about it, Chris Hemsworth didn't have, for probably the first half of the movie, didn't have a whole lot of dialogue.
No.
Like, it was go, move, kid. And then there was just, I think you and I kept on joking around. The one thing that, for me, the movie was missing, but also would have completely destroyed the movie in the same right, is the one-liners.
Oh, I know.
There was
we were just adding our own. We were just adding our own.
Yeah.
And that was again part of the magic of this format is we took a movie that could have both benefited and been detracted from by using one-liners, and we were able to add our own one-liners to it.
Yeah, which made it, like, again, really funny. I can't remember right now what I said, but I was laughing hysterically at a couple of our little one-liners. I think we were doing this names of the sequels.
Or just comparing. We were comparing the two unlikely. I don't want to give away too much, but there's an unlikely duo forms at some point, and we just kind of went down that
Riggs and Murtaugh, and
if I could have typed Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, luckily I can type somewhat fast. I know my spelling was horrible on a couple of them, but it was I was going to do bother. Like Izzoli and Isles or something. Was, the partnerships, but yeah, it's again, it was kind of like they put 5 or 6 movies into a blender and put Chris Hemsworth in it, which he was awesome. Got no complaints there.
Yeah, going back to your drinking game, I mean, you could get pretty tossed if you just took a drink every time Chris Hemsworth's character got a major wound, because homeboy got beat up the whole movie.
Well, and then also it showed, because you and I even made the joke of being like, who's the villain of this movie at some point?
Yeah.
Because there's the guy, like his nemesis in it. Dude is just a walking, like, bandage. He at one point he looked like Sylvester Stallone at the end of the last Rambo movie.
Yeah, just completely torn to pieces. Well, and so you know how in some movies, specifically like if you go with like a James Bond movie, right? The criticism is always like, why do they never run out of bullets?
Right.
So this movie, there was pretty realistic magazine changes and throwing away of one weapon to retrieve the weapon of a dead enemy because it has bullets and yours doesn't.
Right.
But my question continuously throughout the entire film was, where do they keep getting all of these grenades? Because there was an extraordinary amount of grenade usage throughout this entire movie, and they never ran out.
Yeah, and I'm going to set it down right now that this had, and I called it at the time, possibly one of the best fight scenes ever, with not a bullet shot by Chris Hemsworth's character.
Yeah.
At least.
Not but he goes up against
he goes up against a little gang and does have a pretty great little one-liner after that. But there's just a lot of opportunities where it was just like, listen, I think we can give away his name.
Well, yeah, his name is Tyler Rake.
Tyler Rake, which has a last name that you can just do a whole bunch of puns on if you really, wanted to. If the writer was like, his last name's Rake. Just raking the coals. Just
right.
And there is a scene that I did look up today that was deliberately put into the movie for that reason. That you and I discovered. Hold on, wait a minute.
Right.
That just came full circle. So yeah. Without giving anything away.
Yeah, without giving too much away. Because again, I thought it was fun. I thought it was worth the watch. It wasn't. It wasn't a bad movie.
No, I was going to say
it was leaning toward good.
No, I think it was I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
The only thing, as far as the Netflix party, I know because I'm either laughing too hard at some point or too busy like typing a message.
You do miss. I mean, that's why you're not supposed to talk and or text during a movie.
Like I get back to the movie, I'm like, I'm like, wait a minute, I just missed something, but it wasn't that complicated of a movie.
Yeah.
To take a quick second and go, oh, okay, whatever. But I was too busy, like, ha ha ha. Or there was one point where we were chatting and texting each other.
Yeah.
So
it was that at that point it was too much.
Yes. Oh, I know. I made myself laugh hysterically, and then I had to, because of my humor, had to apologize to your wife that didn't end up watching the movie.
It wasn't her speed. It wasn't her.
Right.
It wasn't her deal. She watched maybe the first half of it, and then I could tell that she wasn't super interested in it. I was like, "Hey, if you want, I'll just put in my headphones, and you can
Yeah.
watch whatever you want to watch."
Yeah, my wife leaned over and when Chris Hemsworth came on screen, and then went back to doing her own thing after, because it's not her kind of speed. And I think, kind of going back to that disclaimer of, once it would have hit certain points of what they were doing as far as the kids and stuff, she would have checked out right away.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that.
And it's not, I'll preface this just so people listening who haven't seen the movie, it's all regarding violence. So if you've ever, seen the news with the child armies in like Africa and places like that, that's what we're referring to. So
right.
It's not any more nefarious than that, that's nefarious enough,
right,
all by itself. But just a disclaimer that it doesn't go deeper down the rabbit hole as far as that stuff's concerned.
No, but there's some things that are just kind of
stuff. I would have, if it were that kind of stuff, I would have turned off the movie.
Oh, 100%.
I nope.
I was kind of waiting for it, like if it would have kept going down that rabbit hole or something like that. I would have been like, all right, man, this was a fun experiment, but
I can't watch this movie.
Yeah. But I guess at least owing, people that are watching this and want to watch that movie a little bit of a disclaimer that it's like, hey, there's a couple things that don't really end up serving the overall function of the story. But
no, but they do. I mean, listen, in all reality, that stuff does happen,
Oh yeah.
And so it kind of stayed true to its source material.
Yeah.
And I guess it was based on a series of graphic novels that I had never heard of.
Yeah, I don't know if you can say that it left on a cliffhanger or something like that. I hope that they make more of these movies. I think that'd be cool, but I don't know. They kind of, the way they leave it, you never know. So, yeah. But it was a cool little.
It was fun. It was a fun movie. Yeah. Again, a little heavy at times, but I think it was, overall, it was a good watch. It was well made, definitely well filmed.
Oh yeah, and perfect for what we were doing, as far, kind of going back, like as far as the Netflix party. If we were doing some serious movie that you needed to pay attention more, I wouldn't recommend watching it, probably the Netflix party, but this was an easy one to be able to do that.
Relatively innocuous, not the storyline wasn't super deep. And I got to applaud him, because there was a couple of predictions that you and I made during the movie that actually didn't pan out, which we're usually really good at that.
Yeah, we're like, even till almost the last minute, we're like, wait for it.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
Nope. Didn't get it.
Yeah. And then there's other ones where we're like, spot on.
3, 2, 1.
Wait for it.
There it is.
Yep. But again, I didn't mind it, but doing it the way we did it made it that much fun. I don't think I would have been cracking up. I mean, we had some Tiger King references. We had some.
Oh yeah.
Did he just say what I think he said?
Right.
There's some little quotes in there that you're like, wow, that was random and oddly specific.
Right. But it was a cool, and especially during quarantine time.
Yeah.
It's a way to watch movies with your friends that I think a lot of people are missing right now. From everything that we're seeing right now, our state, Arizona, is looking like it is going to start opening back up on Friday.
We'll see,
The
because I'm
governor hasn't
also,
made a final announcement yet,
yeah,
as to what the game plan is, but the indicators are there. The authorities in the state of Texas have made that actual announcement that they will be starting to open up at the end of this week. Which, listen, it's a tough situation for any of these folks to be in. I've said it from the beginning. There's no vindication in shutting everything down, because there's always going to be that doubt in the back of everyone's mind, was how bad would it have actually been if we
right.
did nothing. And there's no joy in knowing that you'll never really have that answer.
Right. No, and I think it's one of those things where, I mean, even if it does open back up, that doesn't mean everything's back to normal.
Oh
Like it,
no,
I think
no,
that's
no,
a
no.
huge, yeah. No, I worry and blame it on my past career or whatever, that I worry that they, hey, it's lifted with precautions or whatever, and traffic's bad enough as is. I guarantee you that day one, there's going to be so many people at the starting gate and just leaving and going places just because they can, that
Well, and they're going to open,
it's going to be crazy.
the plan that I've seen kind of opens things back up in stages. So it's, I have zero expectation that, even, if our governor says, all right, we're going to lift the stay at home order starting on May 1st. That doesn't mean that everything's back to normal.
Right.
It's going to be a process. They're going to be watching it every step of the way to make sure that we don't end up quarantined until next year.
Right. Because one of the big concerns that I've heard and that I have is that come winter and it starts getting cold again, that we're just going to go back through it. So I think
Yeah.
the more precautions. So, I mean, even if everything opens up, I'm still, for that next week or so, still going to be like, hey, if I don't have to go out and do things, then I'm probably not, you know.
Well, and there's still going to be fewer and fewer things that are open. Again, they're talking about, it's especially in some states where things won't be back to quote unquote normal until
right.
late next year.
Right.
They're talking about, things like big concerts and festivals and that kind of stuff. The part of the plan that I saw involved, after a few weeks, the one of the phases was to reopen things like movie theaters, but still requiring those social distancing protocols.
Right.
And I'm just trying to think, how are you going to put 6 feet between people at a movie theater?
It's going to have to be like 2 seats
They're going
or
to have to
something.
block off, and I think of the theater that I prefer to go to is the Picture Show here in Prescott.
Right.
Those rows, the long rows of seats there, have like 8 seats in them.
Right.
And if you're to put 6 feet between there, you could put maybe 3 people in a row.
Right.
So you're talking about a movie theater that's sold out at 12 tickets.
Right.
It wouldn't even be worth opening. But by the time the theater pays their employees and all of that, it wouldn't even be worth opening.
Right. But then it's going to be, a lot of these things that are going to open, there's going to be a lot of people that I know that are going, stir crazy, that they're going to go do these things just because they can.
True.
And it's going to get crazy there for a little bit as soon as everything starts kind of opening back up. So
no, that was the conversation that my wife and I were having yesterday. Was like, I miss being able to do certain things.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would love to just go watch a movie in a theater. We go to church every week, and we haven't been able to do that. We've been watching church on our TV or on our phones for the past 2 months, almost, month and a half. And so it's just really, we're anxious to get back to to some of those things. And whether you agree with the severity of what this whole thing is or not,
right,
you know, we've seen that we don't have any control over it, unfortunately,
right.
which presents its own set of problems that, believe me, if I start going down that rabbit hole, then
I know.
we've got a whole different show on our hands.
Right.
So I'll refrain.
Like, what really grinds your gears?
Oh, don't get me started, bro.
I know.
Don't even get me started. And it's, I tend to hold some relatively unpopular opinions on things a lot of the time, and I'm okay with that. But I don't want to seem insensitive, because I'm not. I want to make sure that people are safe and healthy and happy. Right now, what we're seeing is maybe the isolation is more of the issue.
Yeah, I think that it's just hit the point, and like I was saying, that I know a lot of people, and you'll see it on social media and stuff. People are going stir crazy.
Yeah.
And wanting to just go do things. And while I understand it, like, just kind of repeating, like, I'm concerned when those doors do open and things start to open up, that people are just going to be going out and doing things just to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Which is good for businesses, but for the safety of Joe Blow citizen.
Yeah, and there's the argument that my personal opinion is this: if you feel like you're at risk, we should have a way that you feel secure in staying home.
Right. And I'm not even
but for the rest of us,
yeah,
let's go.
Right. And I'm not even, necessarily talking about the virus in itself. I'm just talking about when you get a lot of people in a certain thing. I had a guy mouth off to me at the grocery store the other day because they had a line directed other thing that they didn't make known. So I walked over here and he's just like, "You got to open your eyes." Well, listen here, bud. Right. You're 70. I'm about to break your hip.
Yeah, and so, I just want to see, I was having a conversation with another one of our friends, just regarding...
Like, was that like a signal? Another one of my friends.
Yeah. No, regarding this concept of essential and non-essential.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a country. Essential. Well, we live in a country where it's up largely, and for the most part, it is up to me, it's up to you, and it's up to everybody to provide for their households.
Right.
Sure, they're sending out some stimulus payments to soften the blow, but at the end of the day, whose job is it to pay your bills? It's yours. Right. So if you got a job that pays the bills, it's essential.
Yep.
Because nobody's doing it for you.
Oh, exactly.
And I think that's it's not just I want a healthy economy, is I want to see, not poverty is the biggest killer because of the underlying issues that it creates.
Right.
It creates desperation. It creates mental health issues. When you're on the brink of getting kicked out of your house,
right,
you're likely to do things you might not normally do.
This is true.
And so we have to find a way to balance it out. We have to find a way to make sure that the vulnerable are truly protected.
Right.
And that does mean that we're going to have to potentially find a way to collectively contribute to making sure that that's a possibility for them.
Oh, 100%. And like I say, I think it's
more letting the rest of us go back to work.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you and I haven't really stopped working.
No.
But there's a lot of folks who, I ran into an old friend yesterday, and he works at a game store. He hasn't been able to go to work.
Right.
For a month and a half.
Yeah.
And that's having an extreme impact on him.
Right.
Because, sure, right now, the law says you can't be evicted if you don't pay your rent.
Right.
The law doesn't say that your landlord can't expect your back rent due when this whole thing's over. You and I work in the real estate industry, and the difference between forbearance on your mortgage payment and deferment on your mortgage payment is a thing that a lot of folks just don't fully understand. And that's what most of the finance companies have been offering, is a forbearance. Right? So what that means is, okay, you don't pay your mortgage in April and May, but in June, April, May, and June are due.
Right.
And are you really going to be able to make up that difference in just a month's worth of work? No. So, there's definitely things that that we need to be cognizant of, and how this is going to affect our society at large.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I think it's time to kind of open things up just with precautions. So yeah.
And let the lawmakers work on finding a way to protect those who are truly vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And in order for that to happen, the rest of us have to go back to work.
Right. Definitely.
And go back to playing a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
You've seen the photos of the Vegas Strip, just dark.
Yeah.
That's a crazy concept, to think of no lights on the Vegas Strip.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Those really photos they're almost spooky. They look like they're out of a horror movie.
Yeah. I think now's the time to film a horror movie.
Could be.
Not personally.
Let's get to writing.
I hate those things.
Oh, but you could write a good one.
I could.
See? We should write one. Anyway, on to let's happier news. Happier news.
It's always happy, man. It's all in your mindset.
Absolutely. So, in news that is good things that have come out of this quarantine situation, is much like a lot of people, even those who work in Hollywood, are finding time to maybe catch up on projects that they've been putting off for a while.
Yes.
And one of those people is a little bit of a personal hero of both of ours, Mr. Kevin Smith.
Very much
has
so.
Finished his first draft.
I know. I kind of
called Mallrats 2.
I know. I kind of called you out, and then you never laughed to my quote, so I was like, well, hope you know it was just in jest. But yeah, no, I've known he's been attempting to work on the Mallrats sequel for quite some time.
It's been years that he's been kind of dabbling with it, but it was cool to see that he announced that he had finished his first draft of the script.
Yeah, I'm hoping it goes a certain way, and I'm kind of nervous because of being such a Kevin Smith fan.
Always.
That as much as I loved the reboot movie, there were things that I wish had been handled differently about them getting older and kind of the next stages in their life and everything. And so I kind of hope that Mallrats is like that, of kind of, because malls are stopping, aren't really a thing anymore, or they're struggling. Apocalypse. So I hope that's kind of a part of it. But I will enjoy it regardless, whatever it is.
Well, it's one of those things. Listen, even if it gets terrible reviews,
it's still going to be.
Am I going to go see it?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That question is 100% yes.
Yeah. If he tours it like he did last time, guess what?
Probably go to that one too.
Probably go to that one.
Well, and after the success that he had with the reboot roadshow, I'd be shocked to see if he goes any other way with it.
Yeah, which is funny because then, because my wife, who's also a Kevin Smith fan, didn't get to see it. So when it came out on video, we rented it. So we rented it for, and then it was like a couple weeks later, it's full blown on Prime.
Yeah, it's just streaming on Prime.
Which seems to happen to us a lot, where we're like, oh, let's go ahead and rent this movie, and then 2 weeks later, it's free.
Yeah.
So, on other good news, did you see yesterday, I believe it was, the day before, just released, Josh Gad's new YouTube channel, in which he interviewed, after 35 years, the entire living cast of The Goonies.
No, I did not see that.
You need to look at that thing. Like,
check it out.
I got emotional. As a grown man, I got emotional of all of them together, and it was really something cool. So, yeah, first time that they've been, first time that they've been kind of interviewed and everything like that in quite some time. So,
yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, just working and keeping busy.
Yeah, me too. Which is, again, I feel truly blessed and fortunate that we have that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
That we've set ourselves in a place that's an option that we have.
Right.
So it's all good stuff. I see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, again, and it's
people coming up here in the very near future. Unless you live in California.
Yeah, well, again, and I think it's all mindset. I've talked to some people where it's really gotten to them, and then, you get off the phone with them and you're like, why am I, be more positive? And it's just kind of not letting that stuff get to you. And, it's hard sometimes. I get that, but it's, just staying positive, and that's another reason we do what we do.
Yeah, just try and bring some light and levity into the world.
Exactly.
Did a little refresh on the kitchen during quarantine, learned some new camera techniques, just keeping myself busy, keeping myself creative.
Yep. I'm doing video stuff, doing stuff around the house, and all those honeydew things that I've been putting off for far too long.
Yep.
So, yep.
Well, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
It was nice to do a full-blown movie review again.
I know, it's been a while. It was fun to do that, but I think that we need to do something. We'll select, a couple people and do a Netflix party with us.
Yeah. In fact, if you're watching this on the YouTube or on the Facebooks, comment and tell us a movie that you would want to watch with us, or with your friends or whatever it might be, in that YouTube part or in that Netflix party platform. Because I think it could be a cool way for us to interact with listeners from areas that we can't go hang out with people.
Yeah, exactly. So leave a comment or something like that. That'd be really cool.
So, and and we'll make sure to, when we do schedule that Netflix party, we'll put a link on our Facebook page. We'll do like an event, so you guys will know when it's coming, and then we'll get that all set up, and hopefully it'll be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
So, anyway, that's it.
The
day is over. Until next time, he's Tucker.
He's Beard.
And we're out.